Our future presentation tonight is going to be from Mike McDowd. He's been involved with our society for a long time, since 1987. He's been treasurer and second vice president during the late 20th century and early 21st century. He started off with the standard 60 millimeter refractor that so many people did. He graduated about 20 years ago to an 11-inch Schmitt Cassegrain. And he enjoys flight simulations and a radio-controlled quadcopter. And he has a simulation for us tonight. You're on, Mike.
Thank you, Dale. Can someone turn off the lights? You probably see the screen better with the lights out. One of the things I like to do is simulating things, so everything from landing F-18 Super Hornets on carriers to landing on the moon. And a little introduction on the Lunar Module. Lights, please. I don't know if I need that.
We need it.
You need it? Oh,
See
you
you.
will need it? Oh, to see me? Oh, well. Anyways,
That's good.
whoa. All right. How did this all start? Well, we can blame Kennedy. Kennedy challenged the Soviet Union to, the United States and the Soviet Union to get to the moon, put a man on the moon and return him before 1970. And he did that in 1961. I think this photograph was taken in 1962. And that strange contraption in the background, that's not the Lunar Module that went to the moon, but I think NASA, that's something that they put together at the time. Bizarre creature. What they ended up sending to the moon was 2 spacecrafts. There was our Lunar Module, and there was also a command service module. And the Lunar Module is actually a 2-stage rocket. It uses hypergolic fuels. Those are fuels that when they mix, they spontaneously ignite. All the fuels used were of that type. It was a helium pressure fed system. There was no pumps, turbo pumps at any time. Helium was under pressure, forced into the tanks, that forced fuel in the lines and forced fuel into the engines, and that's how the engines were fed. And there were no fuel cells on the Lunar Module. It was all batteries, zinc solar batteries. Grumman Aircraft Engineering Corporation won the contract for the Lunar Module. This is the upper stage. The lower stage, the central engine there, that's a 10,000-pound thrust engine, variable thrust, and it's on a gimbal, so it actually could move a little, and that helps keep the Lunar Module upright and under control. And question, how do you steer a spacecraft? You know, on a car you have a wheel, you got a single wheel and wheels on the ground. Aircraft have control surfaces, ailerons, rudders. Well, how do you steer a spacecraft? Well, the Lunar Module has what's called RCS, Reaction Control System. It actually has 16 100-pound thrust motors. These are all fixed. They're located in 4 clusters. And there's 16 of these, and these fire in certain combinations to change the attitude or direction, and you'll see that operate in the simulation. Close up of one of them, this is the front of the Lunar Module, that's the pilot's window there, or the Neil Armstrong's window there, that's one of the clusters. Those are all fixed, by the way, there's no gimbling, and this is inside, what it looks like inside the Lunar Module, and no, Buzz Aldrin does not have forearms. This is a composite of several pictures. This was taken by Neil Armstrong. This is actually taken on the moon. And they're out of their suits. And Neil Armstrong, I think, is as far back as you can go inside the Lunar Module to get these shots, and then someone stitched them together. Not a whole lot of room. And it was a Saturn V that was used to send us to the moon. It was July 1969 was liftoff. And the lucky guys were Neil Armstrong, commander. Michael Collins was the service module pilot, and Buzz Aldrin was actually the Lunar Module pilot, though it was Neil Armstrong who was going to do the actual landing. Takeoff was July 16th. First stage separation, close enough to the ground where telescopes could see it. And then third stage makes it to orbit. About 17,000 miles an hour, that's what you need to do if you want to get into orbit with anything. And then TLI, what was interesting is they did not achieve escape velocity. It's just shy of escape velocity. What they do is they send it out in the direction of the moon. Normally it would come back in a very large elliptical orbit, but the moon captures it before it can get the chance to come back to Earth. So you don't really need to get escape velocity. Oh, and by the way, all my units of measure will be in English. At the time of the lunar program, everything was in English, even communications between the astronauts and mission control. After they get the boost to go to the moon, separation, and the command service module also has the same RCS reaction control system. It will swing around, grab the lunar module, and extract it from the third state. And then it's bye-bye Earth. And they arrive 3 days later, July 19th, 1969, a sight not too many people get to see, close up to the moon. Lunar orbit insertion. And Michael Collins, he gets the whole command service module to himself. Makes quite more room when two of your guys leave. He gets that whole spaceship to himself for about 1 day. Separation on docking. Michael Collins took these pictures. These are actual pictures of the lunar module before heading down to the moon. And what's interesting is they landed in the Sea of Tranquility, and the braking maneuver was just north of a famous crater system, double crater on the moon. It's Messier A and B. I don't know if you can see it. Sea of Fertility. I've actually shown some people in this club the double crater. Can anybody see it? It has like a commentary. The rays go off in one direction. And you'll see that in the simulation, Messier A and B. There it is from lunar orbit. If you know you got a telescope, know where to look, it's there. Actual photograph out the Neil Armstrong's window. There's Messier A and B.
About how larger?
How big are those?
Yeah.
That crater? It's it's several miles across.
Okay.
I don't know how big it is. You don't want to land it. The problem is we have to slow down. We are traveling at this stage. We're traveling about 3,500 miles an hour, and we have to slow down to 0. And at this stage in the orbit, the lunar module is at 50,000 feet, and we have to drop down to 0. It's going to take us 260 miles to do that, 12 minutes. I'm not going to do the whole simulation. I don't think I have time for that, but I'll do the tail end of it, the last half of it. Interesting fact about the first lunar landing. I'm sure we've all seen these a million times. No human on Earth saw the actual lunar landing. No one, not even mission control. There was no live video feed. What it was done with, a what they call it, digital acquisition camera. This is a film camera, film emulsion. And that means the camera has to be taken back, film extracted, and developed in a lab. And this camera was put in Buzz Aldrin's window, because Neil Armstrong shouldn't be landing, we don't want to obstruct his view, so they put the camera in Buzz Aldrin's window. Too bad, Buzz Aldrin. Even mission control did not get to see the actual landing. What did they see? Well, this is a celebration shortly after they landed. They saw pictures of themselves celebrating. So what did people on Earth see? Depending on what channel you were watching, you saw cartoon animations. And depending on what channel you saw, different cartoons. This is one of them. And CBS, I think this is a full-size lunar module they had on a soundstage. And you can go to YouTube and watch the actual, what was shown during the actual lunar landing. And one channel even had a little itty-bitty lunar module on a makeshift surface. Now, when Neil Armstrong made his first footsteps, when he took a walk on the moon, what he did was he walked down that ladder, maybe halfway pulled a cord, and a panel opened up, popped open, and on that panel was a video camera. And that video camera gave a live feed of the first lunar walk, one small step for man. And as the lunar module landed, it's a fully automated system. The computer will land and do everything, assuming nothing goes wrong. The problem is, it doesn't know the surface. It will could land you in a crater, on the side of a crater, on a boulder, which would not be good. So, and what they did, they enabled the pilots to be able to take control and do the final landing. And all the lunar landings were actually taken over at the last couple minutes by the commander, and he actually flew the lander down, and that's what I would do. And as they were landing, they were coming up on a crater, and it looked like and next to this crater was a boulder field. Neil Armstrong was not going to land there, so he extended his landing and went downrange. And that's, you'll see that in the simulation. So I'm going to make a quick adjustment to the graphics here. And then we'll get into the simulation. I'm just going to change. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go in orbit just to show you the lunar module. Hope I have sound.
There's no sound in space.
Communications.
Go, Patrol, go. Telcom, go. GNC, go. Econ, go. Surgeon, go. Capcom, we're go for landing.
All right, we're back. 69. All right, we're in orbit about the moon, and I can use a switch here on my joystick and move around, and no, I cannot.
Oh.
What's wrong?
I think we have a computer fault.
I think I might have to reboot. Oh, okay. The computer's been in sleep a couple times.
We try disconnecting.
By the way, it's 5.5 by 6.8 miles.
Oh, what's this? You need this? It didn't have joystick selected.
They were working, I thought they were working. What do you mean?
I mean, on that screen in the control thing, it didn't have joystick
Okay, maybe
selected.
that.
Flight controllers, 20 seconds to go, no go for landing. All flight controllers, go, no go for landing. Retro, go. Rhino, go. Guidance, go. Patrol, go. Telcom, go. GNC, go. Econ, go. Surgeon, go. Capcom, we're go for landing.
I'm gonna have to reboot.
This is
Flight controllers, 20 seconds. Flight controllers, go, no go for landing. Retro, go. Rhino, go. Guidance, go. Patrol, go. Telcom, go. GNC.
All right, thank you, Jonathan. You make a good co-pilot. Using some of what they call a hat switch on the joystick, I can move around along lunar module,
Cool.
and you can see the crater, maybe A and B in the background. We performed the braking maneuver in a short time. I'm not going to actually do the whole landing because I don't have time, but you can move around.
Now, how high would we be at this point?
We're at 50,000 feet.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's between 9 and 10 miles high. And what I can do is pull back on the joystick, and that fires that RCS system I described. As long as I keep the joystick back, nothing happens. And then when I center the joystick, I'm telling the computer or autopilot to stop the turn. I can twist the joystick, and it fires the appropriate rocket motors. And it begins to twist, or that's yaw. And as long as I keep the joystick twisted, nothing happens. And then when I let go, the joystick centers, and that tells the autopilot stop the turn.
Okay.
And that's how you change the attitude. I can go inside, I can also control it from the inside, and I can pan around.
Oh, wow. Where's Buzz?
We threw him out the airlock.
Oh, no.
That is not the commode, that's actually the center engine protruding into the service module. Artificial horizon, there's controls up there. You can see the fuel gauge, 95, that's the oxidizer fuel, 95% at this stage. Mission timer, various controls, you see a landscape. If I hit a button, it takes me right to the window, looking down. All right. Now what I'm going to do is do our landing.
Flight controllers, 20 sounds like a go for landing. Retro, go. Final, go. Guidance, go. Patrol, go. Telcom, go. GNC, go. Econ, go. Surgeon, go. Capcom, we're go for landing.
Okay, now the autopilot is firing the RCS system to keep it on track and the proper orientation. I don't know if you can see the numbers on the bottom, but that gives you vertical speed, altimeter, forward velocity, fuel remaining. You can go inside, pan around. I can zoom in. Got 15, that's 15% fuel. I can go look out the window. Now, something Neil Armstrong did not do was pan around and let's look at the scenery off to the side. He's looking where the thing is landing. I can hit some keys here and bring up some controls. And what's happening is the autopilot is bringing the lunar module down to next to a very large crater with a boulder field. It's not a good thing. You can see our altitude dropping, and then the rate next to it, that's the tape. And I'm going to be taking over. Right now it's on autopilot, no hands, but I'm going to be taking over.
What happens if you let it autopilot?
I've done that and it lands on a boulder and crashes.
Look at the shadow.
Most all of them pretty much watch the controls while Neil looked outside to change the scale on that.
540 feet.
Now I'm going to take over, and I'm going to change the attitude to horizontal because I want to continue to go down range. I'm going to slow my rate of descent and go horizontal.
Yeah.
Take us beyond this. I'm down to 6-8% fuel. I'm not descending anymore. You can see my rate of descent is 0, and I'm not dropping anymore. But I'm going down range. Let's look up here. I'm going to go turn left. I'm going to try to get between those two craters up ahead. Now when I took that left-hand turn, some of the exhaust sent us going to the left. Now I have to slow down, so I'm going to pull back.
200 feet, down 2.5.
Point the engine forward, pull back on the stick. .4% fuel. Keep it rolling. I'm changing the thrust a little bit. I'm drifting in rearward.
40 feet, down and a half.
Tricky. All right, this is good.
60 seconds.
fuel did you have left over?
We'll copy you down, Eagle. Listen, Tranquility Base here, the Eagle has landed. Roger, Tranquility, we're copy on the ground. We got a bunch of guys about to turn blue, we're breathing again, thanks a lot.
All right.
Thank you.
You landed as a safety net.
Whoa. Oh my god.
Looks like we're letting the answer by then. Roger, Eagle, and you are safe for T1. Over. Eagle, you are safe for T1.